Welcome back to another amazing episode of Security Happy Hour. That's right, it is me, the Cyber Warrior. This is CyberWarriorStudios, and it is Friday the 13th. So all my witches out there, please stay safe and don't do anything I would do. All right, because it's all bad things when you do those types of things. But anyways, hey, look, I got an amazing episode planned. We got some amazing guests coming, and I hope you enjoy the show. Now, stay with me. I'll be back in about 10 seconds. I told you it was 10 seconds. Now, look, hey, with me today, I've got the amazing Jayson Street and Ell Punk. And I say Ell Punk because that's what she has down there. But hey, look, anyways, it's going to be an amazing episode. We got some spooky cyber awareness stories. And I've got one of the best in the industry that just like destroy people when it comes to cyber awareness with the good old Jayson Street here with me. I got Ell Punk down below. Look, we're going to start with Ell. Ell, how you doing this evening?
I decided to play with my mic. Can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you.
That's awesome. I have like 3 mics out here. I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here. Oh my God. I work from home, so I don't ever get to talk to anyone. So I'm like, people are out there. This is amazing. And so I'll probably talk too much.
You're good. You're good. Look, I talk a lot. I work from home too, so I completely get it. And we all know Jayson is never home. So Jayson, how you doing this evening, brother?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on. It's like I'm really excited. It's been I've actually been a really slow year, so I haven't traveled as much. So it's like that's been refreshing. It's like it's gonna be picking up, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely. End of quarter coming, new quarter coming along, new year. I'm sure some things are gonna pick up, so you'll
Definitely.
be all right. But you know, we got an amazing episode planned. So for all those there watching in the Cyberverse, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, donate, all those fun little things. And as you all know, for all those in YouTube land, if you donate via Super Chat, all that's going to my son's youth football league. I'm going to be donating everything once YouTube decides to pay me. I need to make at least $100 before they will. So that being said, we're going to get on with the show. And I want to know, Ell, from you, what got you into cyber before we start talking about cyber awareness? Because it's always the first question I ask everybody is, what got you into cyber? So what got you into cybersecurity?
I don't know. I think I was just always here, to be honest with you. Since I started, I was a Linux system admin. And so my entire day was just basically spent trying to fix people's systems and the way they'd screwed them up and how they could basically get owned because of it. It was just hilarious. We had a customer, huge customer. This would be one of those, if I said their name, you have them in your home. And we had a board that used to say days since 777, and that never got above 2 days. If you're not a Linux person, basically, days since they opened up the doors to everything. 2 days after 2 years of working there was the highest we ever got.
I'd love to say that's unreal, but it's actually completely real, and I still see it to this day on a lot of people. It does not shock me one bit that huge conglomerates are like, yeah, sure. You know what? Everybody can run and execute this file. You're good. It's okay. We'll allow it. So even as a kid, this was something like you loved IT and just kind of wanted to get into, or was it something that as you got older, you were just kind of like, oh, I kind of like this shit. I'm good at this. Let's just run with it.
I don't think I'd ever even say now that I'm good at it. None of us are good at it. We're making it up as we go along, right?
Isn't that what we all
Actually, no. I got my first computer in 2014. So after that, I grew up on a farm. With time, I grew up I spent a lot of time living off the grid. So yeah, computers were never really a part of my life, but just starting out, my very first job was as a system admin for enterprise level companies. So from the beginning, I saw everything that was being done wrong, and basically being on the end that was being yelled at by the customer, because apparently it's what I did wrong that was the issue, even though I'd never been on the box. So yeah, I learned security really quickly because everything was being blamed on me.
Well, it's always your fault. No, that's actually pretty awesome, because a lot of people either come up in this or transfer into it early or later on in their career, right? They go from growing up in IT into cybersecurity, or they go from nothing into cybersecurity and just kind of, migrate in, to know that you kind of like grew up that, I don't want to say sheltered, but that farm life of like no social media, no computers, no internet, into, fuck it, this looks cool. I'm gonna be a sysadmin. Let's just go for it and work on Linux. Like, I think you started working on Linux only a few years after I did, and I grew up in IT. So that is absolutely amazing to me.
I tell people, I think the best part is people tell me, oh, I'm not technical. And I'm like, do you know how to use Windows? Do you know what that little bar at the bottom, how to make it go away? You're already more technical than I am. Like, I don't know how to use Windows.
You're more technical than most people. If you can hide your start bar, you're good. You'll be all right. Well, you'll figure shit out. Jayson, I know we've gotten a lot. For anybody that's watched Darknet or listened to Darknet Diaries, they know a little tiny piece of Jayson Street. Yeah. But what I want people to know is how you got into cybersecurity. What kind of sparked your interest into getting into the whole social engineering, cybersecurity aspect of things?
Well, actually, I firmly believe everybody was born a hacker. It's just that innate curiosity. Hacking has nothing to do with computers. It's about curiosity, imagination, innovation. It's that drive of like, this is what everybody tells me it's supposed to do, but what else can I make it do? Or how can I make it do something different? This is the way everybody tells us to accept the world the way it is, and I want to do something different. So that's what it is naturally. It's like, and because of my very traumatic childhood, it's like I grew up wanting bad guys to have a bad day. It's like I wanted to be, not the monster I was raised to be. I wanted to be someone better. And so I got into physical security, and also, as a supplemental officer at a gang task force for 3 years until I get tired of getting shot at. And then I found out of a commercial that I could do computer support and work on computers. And I was working on fixing on computers anyway for a while. So I started doing IT support. And then in 2000, because, I'm old, I found out that you could do computers and security. And I was like, whoa, I could do computers and security and no one could is shooting at me? Well, that's amazing. And then like in 2010, I started doing the red teaming and physical engagement stuff. And then I got back to where people possibly could shoot at me again. So it's a vicious circle, but it's still fun. And about 2016, I stopped red teaming because red teaming was just breaking in, finding flaws and vulnerabilities, writing reports, and having them mediated. And I went to security awareness engagements where I did direct impact education on site during the compromise, educating the people then and there what I did was wrong, and how to do better at it, and making it a positive experience. And so I branched off and created a whole thing in the industry that is based on doing direct security awareness engagement. I've even created classes. I've taught it at Black Hat Europe. It's like I've taught it at DEF CON, where it's like I'm teaching people to be more about the security awareness or situational awareness training. And that's what I've continued to do. And what I do now at Secure Yeti is that I try to be a teachable moment, not testing people on their security.
I absolutely love that. And that's one of the things. So when I retired out of the Army, that was one of the things I wanted to start, was more of a in-person type of training, right, for cyber awareness. And it was because, in my opinion, I felt that users aren't necessarily comfortable talking about their mistakes to people they're going to see on a regular basis, because then they risk being made fun of. They risk all these other issues like, oh, you should have known better, or da-da-da-da. When in reality, what does online training really teach you? Don't click that link. Well, why not? The mind, a lot of people these days want to know why. Why shouldn't I do this? Why shouldn't I do that? Why shouldn't I do this other thing? Why shouldn't I do this thing? Why shouldn't I let this person? Why shouldn't I plug in this USB drive? Not a lot of people know the story of the FBI agent that had it plugged in a USB drive and it offloaded his entire hard drive to the USB. They don't know these things. So for them, it doesn't click on the effect of personal life, of business, of money, of how it affects them. So when you get in there in person, and like make it more of a learning experience and an ability to teach, and that those teachable moments, that is what matters, because
Right.
they're never going to see you again. They may not,
Yeah.
but the reality is maybe once a year they might see you. And so for that, but they're still getting everything they possibly can. And I think
Right.
that matters. I think that
I'm
is
showing
very
them.
important.
Yeah, I'm showing them the stove is hot. It's like the problem is you can tell people that these are the things that you have to do, but I'm the one that actually is right then and there showing them, oh crap, I did let you in. I did do that. That was bad. You could have robbed us. And it's like, and I tell them, it's like, I'm there to show you how worse it could be, but you don't have to worry about it because I was hired to do it, to teach you, not to test you. And it's like, and so therefore you didn't lose anything, you learned. And that's what it was about. So I helped to show you that the stove is hot, so without you getting burned.
Exactly.
So
So,
one of the
Elle, what
things
is?
that I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say, one of the things that I find that's, I guess, difficult with these conversations is in security, we tend to focus our conversations on training other security professionals, on training tech people, on training people that work for business. Right now, I'm writing a course on just kind of basic OPSEC for everyone. And as I'm interviewing people, what I'm hearing is, well, my information's already been leaked. What does it matter? Well, they already have it. What can they actually do? And there's just not an understanding in the common public of why they could be a target. And so I'm going through and actually talking to them about somebody gets mad at your kid and so starts investigating information on them, finds out information from you, contacts you. You're thinking, oh, it's just one of my kid's friends. And you give out the information without thinking. What can they actually do about it? So I don't know. I think that's one of the biggest problems right now in security training is we focus so much on preaching to the choir that we're missing out the people who could actually be the biggest targets.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
most definitely.
and I also agree with that, and especially with the way, and once again, back to the situation where it's like people are just not aware of what they're giving away, or they just become too trusting. And Elle can speak on that a lot more because she works with Operation Safe Escape that has to deal with a lot of those kind of people who are using a person's shared data or locations and stuff, to do them harm. It's like, so, I mean, I'm not into that as much. It's like I'm usually more the attacker side, but Elle deals with a lot of people that are like the victims of that kind of stuff as well,
Yeah.
and is trying to do better on it. So
And
she would definitely know more about that kind of aspect of it.
I deal a lot with that with people on, some of my friends that have been in relationships and things like that, like on TikTok, where they got to worry about these things, and they're always hiding their information. And I always ask why, because I want to know, like, is it a personal choice? You just don't want others to know, or is there an actual legitimate reason? Because if there's a legitimate reason, then what can I do to help? That's always my question. How can I help? How can I do what's best for you? Because kind of like on Twitter, right? If I tag somebody, or X now, whatever they want to call it, then everybody sees it, right? They see this person's name and they're like, oh, who's this? Even though I can't click that and follow them. Who is this? Like, I want to know. Whereas if you say, hey, I don't want to be in these follow Fridays, I don't want to be tagged, I don't want to be this, that's fine. Let me know. If you don't let me know, then I'm just shooting from the hip and I'm like, oh, yeah, all these people are amazing because I can see them because I'm not that type of person. But if you don't tell me that, hey, nobody should see this, I don't know. And so that's where I think that kind of, we need to come to this understanding of some people aren't trying to be malicious. They just don't know because you have not told them.
Yeah.
I think one of the, we talked about scary stories in tech and everything. One of the scariest times I've ever had is being called in and been told, hey, based on the research that we're doing, we've now become a target. We've gotten notice from X organization that we need to be careful. And it wasn't, this is what you need to do. It was, you need to talk to your kids, especially if they're on Telegram, especially this, and prepare them for what is coming.
Oh, are we talking about recently?
Within the last 2 years, I'll go with that.
You said last 2 weeks?
2 years. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to give you a time span because if I narrow it down, you're going to know.
I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about. And for that, I agree. We're not, look, this is a fun show. I'm trying not to bring into it what I initially thought I was going to bring into it, just for the sole purpose of, Elle, I seen your information earlier.
Elle was being targeted by like
Well, can we not go into it?
Yes. Okay. But
I'm being
okay. But it was not Hamas.
I'm being
It's like,
obtuse.
I know, but you're so obtuse. I think he thinks that you were talking about the Hamas stuff, that they're talking about, like
Oh, no.
uninstalling the social media off of the kids' phones because they're going to be releasing the footage. That's not it. It was something from several years ago in the past, not this
Okay.
recent from the last
So
week.
don't try to do, offset covering around Jayson, because he's just gonna
No,
out you.
I'm not. I
No,
didn't out you. I didn't out you. I just said what it wasn't.
I get what Jason's covering.
I just said.
get what
I
Jason's
just said
saying.
what it
teasing,
wasn't.
I'm just
Yeah.
teasing because you're like years ago.
Exactly. Years ago.
It's not this,
It's
and I'm not going to dig. That's
Yeah.
plain and simple.
That was
That's how I
funny.
operate. I don't dig unless somebody makes me dig, and
Yeah.
I don't want to dig. Look, I got out of that life. I do more management now, and I'm happy with that. Okay.
I'm just saying it wasn't Hamas. It's like so.
so Jayson understood where I was coming from.
You're right. Exactly. I saw the concern and I was like, no, it wasn't. It wasn't
Yeah.
that. It's like,
That's why I was like, wait, we home brought. But anyways, hey, at the end of the day, though, the point stands that you have to pay attention to everything.
yes.
And as a parent, I got 5 boys. I know full-heartedly what they could see, what they could do, what can happen. My father has come under this assumption of I have nothing to hide, so what do I care?
Yeah.
I'm like, homie, you're in GRC. Like, you actually live in this field. You live in this industry, and you're still saying these things. Look, I was in the military. I served 13 years. I got retired. I know my information's out there. So there are certain things where I'm just like, if you're going to steal my credit, go for it, homie. The best you could do is raise my credit score at this point. I really don't give a damn. If you can get approved, good on you, because I can't. But for other people out there, there are serious concerns with cyber awareness because you give away the wrong information. You don't have MFA. You don't have any of these other things. Then now I can see your kids' pictures. Now I can see where you live. Now I can see where you travel to. I can see all this stuff. And this goes back to Facebook too, right? Because if we look at it from an awareness point of view, I'm the type of person that I love the mess with the bots and the scammers and the spammers and all those people out there. So if you add me on Facebook, I'll add you, I'll have that conversation, and then I'll blow up your spot. I will literally sit there and tell you outright that you're a piece of shit and not care. But that still gives, I still got to do it in such a way that they're not getting information from my family, from my friends, from the people that I interact with. Because if they do, I'm giving them a look into the lives of people that don't know any better, of people that are going to fall for the scams, that are going to give away their life savings, that are going to go and spend this money. It's a Nigerian prince scam over and over again that we see online. So when we're talking about cyber awareness, when we're talking about all these things and we have these discussions, so many people think it's just corporate and business and, oh, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. No. These are the same people that are getting into your social media, stealing your social media accounts, finding out everything they can, and then taking your money. That's when it hits home.
Yeah.
So how do we relate this to them?
One of the things that I tell people in information security, when I talk to the choir, it's like I tell them straight out, I say, stop trying to get employees to care about your data. They're never going to care about their data. They're getting compromised at home. They don't have their Wi-Fi point. Instead of doing that, start helping your employees to better protect their home accounts. Do lunch and learns on how to check the account settings on their kids, TikToks and Instagrams and Snapchats and whatever things that they've got on new apps that they're doing right now. It's like, show them how to not fall for the scams at home. Show them how to secure their Wi-Fi. Show them alerts send them a company-wide email when a new iOS update comes out. It's like, tell them, say, hey, look, this has got some security patches. You get some new emojis. It's like you should download it. When a new Android revision comes out, it's like, say, hey, there's a new Android thing. when the FBI did something actually useful and sent out that router bulletin saying, upload your update your routers, send that out to all your employees, because then it starts to show them that you're not there just to find out what they're doing wrong, but you're there to help them become more secure. And when they start becoming more secure at home and they become more situationally aware at home, they bring that to work. They still don't care about your data, but if they're not going to fall for it at their house, they won't fall for it at work. And that's where that benefits you.
What about you, El?
Okay, so I've been having a lot. I have to come up with content that's going to keep people interested if they're not already interested in security, right?
Right.
So one of the most fun things, anyways, that I've been coming up with is just this crazy story about an APT who puts one person into the field and makes your next door neighbor fall in love with them, marries your next door neighbor, and is now just up in your house looking at your stuff because you trust him. You have him over for the barbecues. You have him over, and it just seems like this extreme scenario. But then when you start breaking down what they're actually doing, like, hey, they came over to your house. You left your office open. Hey, you know what? They've gone to be friends. Now you're sharing, your kid's barbecue. And hey, what are you doing at work? I know you work with this. Wow, that sounds really interesting. I mean, can you tell me a little bit more? And so we come up with these huge ideas of how things can happen, but the tactics, right, they're exactly the same. They're itty bitty, and it just grows and grows till you don't realize how much you've given out.
And it's funny because us as security professionals tend to get cocky and arrogant and think, oh, we could never fall for this. Some of the best and brightest have fallen for the most obscure shit. The most off the wall. You would think, oh, there's no way. I've got a friend that had his entire Discord account compromised. I myself had to deal with the fact that my son, my oldest, who he knows security, and he's the one that reached out to me and was like, Dad, I don't know about this. Can we look into it? Da 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 da. And my dumbass, even though I was like, had that inkling of this is a bot on top, like two different, like the same person on two different accounts, kind of doing shit, I still had to go through and make the fight to get his account back. Like there are just certain things that happen that everybody looks at and they're like, this seems fishy, but maybe it's real. So we're going to take our risk, right? We're going to weigh that risk, and is it worth it? Yeah, sure, why not? Whatever. And so it happens to everybody. Right. And so for anybody to sit there and be like, oh, this doesn't happen. Oh, it's never going to happen to me. I know what I'm doing. My Wi-Fi's secure. My accounts are secure. I got, this really long password, but it's on all my accounts.
Right.
The exact same one on all my accounts.
It's like super secure. I'm going to use it everywhere. Yeah,
exactly. So I look at these things and I'm like, look, even the best and brightest do dumb shit. I was the type of person that for years used the exact same password, and it was the dumbest password in the world that I could ever think of because it was easy on everything. Even coming up into security was like, you know what? It'd be harder for me to change it than to just let my wife and kids just keep using it. I don't fucking care, whatever. No one's going to target me. Like, why would you come after me? And then as you start learning more and more and you start coming up, it's one of those things that you're looking at, you're like, nah, homie, I got to change this. I got to fix these things. I got to kind of reorient how I do shit. And even my wife has been compromised, and it took me months to get people to quit trying to charge shit to my credit cards. It was such a fight. I had to get her a new phone because these phones these days, AV don't work. They're just like, nah, I'm gonna just sit on your phone, homie. Once you're in, you're in. It doesn't matter what type of phone you have, Android or iPhone. It doesn't fucking matter. Once they're in, they're in.
So let me jump on that, because it's the point of people telling me I've become too paranoid because I have an iPhone, right? I'm going to say it out there, or at this point had an iPhone, and it just started acting, and all I can say is wonky. The thing would
Yep.
overheat no matter what I was doing with it. I'd have apps doing pop-ups that I didn't allow. Like, it was just acting wrong. So my head's like, that's it. You've been compromised. Have I done anything? Download it? No. But my head just went there. And I reset it, and I'm still like, it's still overheating. I need a new phone. Yeah. Statistically, am I really looking like somebody's going to burn an O-Day on me because I'm writing a course on OPSEC? Probably not. But man, I just get paranoid.
I know my wife, who has an Android. Like I said, she does. I have a fucking gaming laptop for her that she doesn't use for anything other than playing The Sims. It was her phone that we had to get completely replaced and upgraded before the problems went away. I work with wrestlers, professional wrestlers, that their phones had to get, and I'm talking iPhone, literally had to get upgraded, completely replaced before the problem went away. And we're talking people that would sit on these phones. Now, it wasn't in such a way that it could migrate hardware. But even after redoing the phone, it was still there. I don't know how. I haven't figured that shit out. I'm not that smart. I like to think myself pretty damn intelligent, but I'm not that smart to know that after a reboot, somehow it's still fucking there on a phone. Not seeing a piece of malware that could sit there. But who knows? Maybe it was a text message. Maybe it was an email. Maybe it was a picture. Who the fuck knows? Either way, it was there. 2 phones, both compromised. Both to the point of no matter what you did, no matter how many times I kicked these motherfuckers out, they were still there to stay. Kept coming back for more and more. And I'm like, look, I know I got friends. I'm going to kick you out every time. We're going to have fun with this shit. But I got tired of it. Even with my wife, I'm like, babe, I can't do this anymore. We're going to get you a new phone. Like, I'm done. I quit. Like, we're going to migrate hardware. We're going to figure this shit out. That's what it took.
It's funny to hear you say that stuff because you're the first person, I guess, that has given like any credence to it could be, because you don't know how many people I'm like, it's an iPhone, you're fine. Did you download anything?
Oh,
suspicious?
the biggest pain in the ass lie there is. Anybody who tells you it's an Apple, it's an iPhone, it's a Mac, it's a whatever, you're fine, doesn't know their shit, because I've tried putting EDR, I've tried putting AV, I've tried putting anti-malware, I've tried putting everything on a phone, on an iPhone. You know what Apple's response is? We're a secure OS. You don't need to put it on our fucking phone.
This is funny though, because I mean, yes, I agree with you, but it is security professionals, people who I look up to, have been in the industry forever, that are just kind of like shrugging their shoulders like, you'll be fine. No. Yet we're sitting here talking about, we have to be secure, we have to do this, and we kind of don't need our own puppy child.
No. And anybody who has an iPhone and tells you they're secure goes by Apple's word of, because Bitdefender, I use Bitdefender. So for somebody that wants to come out there and target me, have fun, homie, go ahead, find your way around it. But I use Bitdefender on everything. And Bitdefender flat out said, we cannot put antivirus, legit antivirus, on iPhones because Apple will not allow them to hook into the file system that they need to be able to scan the files, because they say they're secure and nobody can get to it. Apple is putting that restriction in place. So that means that when people find a workaround, guess what? Nothing's going to see it. No matter what you do, nothing will see it. It is on Apple to allow systems out there to be able to monitor that, and they refuse to do it. So you're not crazy. It is literally Apple being Apple, because, you know, they think they're unhackable. Jackasses. Anywho, on to better. Hold up. All right, we're good.
I forgot my whiskey. I was in such a hurry.
Yeah, if I wasn't, so my bar only has beer. My wet bar upstairs has moonshine and whiskey and everything else. I stick to beer, or else I'll be way too fucked up by the end of the show.
Isn't that kind of the fun part?
Oh, it is. Oh, look, you got to see some of my shows. Like, there's some people that have been around for the ride for a while. They've seen me really, 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 well, let's just be happy I'm standing sometimes. So, Jayson, in your travels, in your experience, because you're still in the game. I got out. I deal more in management, more in leadership. That's kind of, how I flow. In your travels, where have you found the weakest link? Is it more in the management leadership aspect? Is it in the technical people that feel too comfortable in their own skin? Or is it in the HR kind of everyday worker?
I firmly believe that no human I've come across is the weakest link. The weakest link is our industry and thinking that we are going to actually keep investing in technology to protect people, and instead of investing in our people to protect the technology. If you invested the same amount of money in your technology that you do and to do proper training and proper education for your workers and enforcement policies for your workers, everybody would be running a PIX firewall with a default ACL with an allow, no log, and they'd be running a Snort IDS box with a full signature, turned on that was from the base install, and wondering why they're getting breached every day. Technology was never meant to be the first line of defense for to protect the employee. Your employee should be your first line of defense, properly trained, properly educated, and properly empowered to make the right decisions and the right calls, and then called to task and also enforce those policies where they could lose their job or terminated if they keep screwing up. And then if they make a mistake, you have the technology as a safety net to help catch it. But we've got it turned around where it's like we think it's stupid user clicked on a link, stupid user went to a website, stupid information security didn't properly train and teach their employees. And it's like, so that's what I think is the biggest weakest link has always been management and the information security industry putting everything on a pedestal of technology and talking about how wonderful all this blockchain, kill chain, AI, zero trust models are, and not once saying, why don't we invest some of that into, our employees? It's like I'm working on a talk for next year where it's like I talk about move over AI. The new hotness is HI. It's like, and I talk about how we need to start cultivating and understanding this wonderful new concept of HI. It's like, which is human intelligence, and maybe training that some, like we're training our AI and doing all this work to train the AI to be, competent, when you could also use some of that effort to train your human intelligence and your workers to be that competent. It's like, but it's crazy.
I think me and you should have a discussion on that, because I agree completely. And that we organizations spend all this money on the blinky box, on make things blink, make things work, I want, if somebody clicks a link, I should be able to stop it and see it and da-da-da-da. So they want to go to this reactive defense. Nothing is ever proactive because proactive doesn't make money, right? It's not, oh, I'm going to be able to save money doing this. But you are. Because if you think about it, just like security, everybody likes to think IT and security is an expense. Cyber awareness is an expense. And don't get me wrong, companies like KnowBe4 and things like that have made buku bucks pushing CBTs and training and emails and all this other stuff out there. But the reality of it is, if you invest in your people, both for their cyber intelligence, and again, like you said, secure your home routers, secure your network, secure your phone, secure this, that, and third. And don't let the dumbass in that says he doesn't have an ID and forgot it at his desk. Like, if you do these things and actually invest in your people and care about your people, instead of, oh, I want to buy the new big tech. So this company said this blinky box is going to protect me from everything. Really? Because Apple comes out every year saying they can't be hacked, and they get hacked and jailbroken every year. Do you really want to go there with the next big blinky box?
Well, the new
Instead of
blinky
investing in
boxes
your
have
people?
the new blinky boxes do have blue lights now instead of the old red lights. So I mean, they've got that going for them.
They change colors. So it's green and blue instead of green and red. They'll be all right.
Yeah.
It looks better. It's more calming. Blue is a calming color. So there's
Exactly.
going to be more calm about it. Like, oh shit, I've been breached, but it's okay. It's okay. Guys, settle down. It'll be all right.
Yeah. We chase the technology because with technology we can try to offset the actual fact that we would have to put in more work and more effort into security. The problem is that we don't want to build foundations. It's like in security. It's like foundations are ugly. They take a lot of work to do. It's like I've never been on, seen a Better Homes and Gardens or Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous and had someone showcase what their foundation looks like. Foundations are ugly and they're hard
Yeah.
to work on, but you don't have anything that's worth building or worth sustaining without that foundation. It's like, but that is not fun to build, and we like to build the fun things, the AI, the next gen, the new kind of technology, instead of building with like, have we done asset management? Do we know what's on our network? It's like, have we have a patch standard? Are our machines patched within the last 10 years? It's like,
No.
exactly. But they've got a 10,000, per license, blinky box device that will do something that will help them with their EDR endpoint protection IPS solutions. And they don't even know if someone brings a new machine in. They have no network access control. They have no asset management. They don't know what's on their network in the first place. So, yeah, it's a problem.
Ell,
I'm over
about
here
you?
like, I don't know, PTSD
'cause I
moment.
want
I
to
know
laugh
people
because
throw
it's
that.
been great. Because to be completely honest, Jay hasn't been wrong. You haven't been wrong. I'm gonna sit there. I can sit here and sit back. So like, go ahead, man. Say your piece.
No, so we talk about have your machines been updated, everything. So think about this, 2015, circa Red Hat 7. I was sysadding a Red Hat 4 box that couldn't be restarted, couldn't be updated because they had no idea what was going to happen. And it was running a mission critical application that if it went down, the entire company was screwed. That's it. Like, they couldn't migrate it because they couldn't get it to run on any other platform. The sysad or the developer who had written it was long gone and didn't want to help them. And I'm like, this is my life, because if something happens, they're going to come
So
yell
were you
at me.
working
There's a
for a
reason I left.
hospital? Because that sounds like critical infrastructure hospital type of shit. Like right
I
there.
worked for banks, militaries, and hospitals.
All right, so all the same. They all kind of run the same way. Okay, cool. As long as I understand, because that tends to be the norm. So here's what happens, and for anybody who doesn't know, and yes, I know this is YouTube and goes global and all of that other fun shit, but we're gonna put this information out there because it's the reality of the world. Is you've got these systems that, being a capitalist nation, we like to say, oh, we're going to support it for the next 5 to 10 years. We'll keep you upgraded. We'll do all these fun shits. Da 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 da. But then after 2 years, I didn't make enough money. I go bankrupt. I'm out. So now how do I, as an organization, update, upgrade, and keep up to date with all these systems? Well, I can't. Unless I do it manually, I can't, because the software that was written for them doesn't support the latest and the greatest. Which means I now have to spend, because, again, capitalism, which we're not going to get into the politics of it, but I'm going to charge you billions of dollars or millions of dollars to replace everything that you own to support now what you're doing. And then I promise another 2 years, 5, 10, whatever years of service. So you do that, and then they're bankrupt again, and now you're not getting patches or updates or anything else. And so now you're like, shit, I can't. How do I operate? I got to update this shit again, and I can't. And so this is the problem we're running into. Is I've got Red Hat, which, had someone been running on CentOS, they would have been able to get all the way up to CentOS 7, which was free. But now the developers of CentOS, which are also the developers of Red Hat, were like, hey, we're not doing any more CentOS. So now you've got Enterprise Red Hat, and you're like, well, fuck. All right, so I spend how much money on this license to be able to support this software, or I have nothing. Because nobody understands the underlying systems. Everybody is relying on these third parties to get them through and not hiring the people to support the systems underneath.
So Jayson can attest to this one because he's been around for it. The amount of times that I've literally been talking to an attacker on a system, like literally just chatting with them while a customer is desperately trying to get a hold of the third party that they're using, and I'm just trying to keep them entertained and on the line, is insane. Like, I've been on Telegram with somebody that's in a system. Just, hey, what are you up to? What's your goal? And they know they've owned the thing. They're busy working. They're all chatting. I'm like, this is my life. This is ridiculous. But this is the point that we've gotten to in tech.
It is utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Jayson, let me ask you a question. And I ask this because I think this is one of our greatest downfalls in IT and security. It really is. Do you have a degree?
I'm a high school dropout who used to live behind a dumpster. It's like I've never been as a student to college. I've spoken at colleges and my book is used in colleges, but no, I'm a high school dropout.
Do you have any certifications?
I used to have a lot of certifications because I had to compensate by having some paper that way to get me where I needed to go. But then once I established what I knew and I know that what I know, I don't have any current certifications.
Kind of like me, right? You
I'd say
make your name in the field and let the certifications expire, but the certs were required to get that initial job, right?
Exactly. I tell people certifications or a college degree is very important when you're first starting out and you want to get through the door. But it's the experience and knowledge that you have is going to be what keeps you there 3 months later. It's like and keeps you employed. It's like you can only get through the door with those things. You can't rest on those. It's like you have to have the knowledge behind it. If you're just trying to take certs to make paper and not to get the knowledge from what those certs are supposed to be, all the ways that I've always understood is that when you go through the certifications and you go through the training, it's not to get the cert, it's to understand the concepts of what they're trying to teach and to establish. And it's like, and then the paper helps you with the HR, but you should have gathered some knowledge while you were going after it. If you're just trying to figure out where A or which one answers A's and which one of the answers are C's and the B's, then yeah, you may pass it, but you're not going to keep a job.
Elle, what about you? Degree or certs?
So I have a degree in Christian theology or world religions, whichever one you want to call it in. So it's funny. With certs, I have a ton of them. I don't even know what's active anymore, but I used to collect them.
I have like one active. You're good.
Yeah, just for the fun of it. So the goal for me was pick a topic that I've never done anything with and get certified in 6 weeks. And it wasn't to show off what I know, because all of them I managed to do that in. It was just to show off, like, all a cert is can you memorize stuff? That's it. Even hands-on, like the red hat, it didn't test whether you did things correctly. It just tested to see if it worked. So technically you open the firewall, the traffic goes through, I'm good. That's all. And so certifications to a point make you stand out for HR. But any of us who've actually done it, they're just funny. They're just like, you can memorize things. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I agree. And the reason I ask this and the reason I question this is because we all know, right? Here, when you're looking for a job and a few other places, but mainly in the U.S. where I'm based and we're all based, the degree and the certs are like, you need this to get a job. Or not necessarily to get a job, but to get past that initial HR interview. You need these things. But when it comes to cyber awareness, when it comes to cybersecurity, when it comes to who you are, when it comes to being a hacker, and I agree with you completely, Jayson, in that you are either born or not born a hacker. And it's not one of those things that just comes to you eventually. It is one of those things that is just inherent in you. You may not realize that you've been doing it. You may not realize that you enjoy this field, but it is inherent in you. You just realize one day you just love it's clicked that I like breaking shit and fixing shit and figuring out what's wrong and how to do it better. Like all these things just eventually click and you realize I could be really good in this field. The best people in the world in this job do not have a degree and or certifications unless it was mandated to get them. They do not. The best people that could secure this country, that could secure any company, anybody else, have none of that because they don't need it. Because when it comes down to it, they are damn good at what they do. You talk about your bug bounty artist, and I call them artists because bug bounties are an art. Being able to go through web apps and everything else is an art form. It is not some systematic approach. It is art. To me, it will always be art. It is being able to see things that nobody else can see. And that is what art is to me. I can see things, direct things, move my brush in a way that eventually makes something that people look at and go, holy shit, you really did that with just, 2 tones of paint and a brush? That's how I see bug bounties. That is how I see art. That is how I see what hackers can do. But us that are on, the good side, that are restrained, that are handcuffed, well, we have 2 colors in a brush, but our movements are limited. You can go left or right or up and down. Figure that shit out, homie. There's no in between. There's no diagonal. There's left, right, up, down. That's all you got.
You make
and
some
I think
good
that hurts
art
us
with an etch a sketch.
That hurts us in awareness.
That's true.
Am I wrong?
No.
I don't know. Maybe, actually. I'm going to say, look, I'm going to put
Be
it out there.
devil's advocate. Tell me I'm wrong. I have been waiting for people to tell me I'm fucking wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, Ell.
So, once again, targeting the people and talking to the people who are already here. I work with people who are just starting out. Majority of my work is with college kids. And you know what? Go get your freaking cert. Because you get your cert not for the job, you get your cert for yourself. Because it shows you what it is that you should be studying. Mind you, the certified ethical hacker, that's a whole other, I'm always like, nope, let's just move over here. But anything else, the Security Plus, I'm a huge proponent of that one. Because when you're a college kid, you know what's going to teach you? The freaking vocabulary. Because we like to speak in, alphabet soup. So don't get the certs just for the test. Don't get the certs.
Cybersecurity comes from the military, and we like acronyms. So, have fun figuring that shit out.
So anyways, this is where I get passionate is we are like, oh, certs don't matter. You know what? They can matter to somebody because it feels that, okay, hey, I got to a point. I'm here. I can go to the next one. Because if not, I'm just thinking I've got to be that badass. I've got to be that good. And I don't set stepping stones for myself over there. So if you're new, freaking go get your certs. Have fun. Don't go into debt for them, but have fun.
It's not me saying they don't matter. I don't think Jayson said they don't matter. For me, again, to your point, it depends on the person. Certs matter to HR when you're getting hired. Right. To a adversary, and I agree with you, Al, hacking is not a crime. So I will not say to a hacker. To an adversary, certs and degrees don't matter because they'll just do whatever the fuck they want and make their own money. But in the industry, I built up certs long ago, starting with Microsoft Office Certified Professional. So don't get it twisted. I used to love certs because it was for me. It was something I prided myself upon that I can earn this, and it meant something to me. I didn't give a damn what it meant to anybody else. That did not matter. It was, I earned this. I know this information. It is in my head. I cannot lose it. I may put it in the back corner and forget about it for a little bit, but if somebody asked me about it, I could pull it out again, figure it out in like a day, and know what I'm doing. By all means, I have a GX, I got a GREM, I got reverse engineering malware. I ain't ever touched malware in my life. I've never reverse engineered shit, but I earned that bitch. And if you ask me to, I could figure out assembly once again if I had to, because I went through the course and I know the information. So it's not saying certs don't matter. It's saying companies put so much emphasis on them that people are taking those certs, and to Jayson's point, not knowing the information behind them. They're passing the cert, getting in the door, and cannot actually defend the certification that they have. That is the problem we're running into. If it was not required.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
No, Siri, I cannot.
Speaking of security.
Right? If it was not required in just, hey, if you had this, it'd be great. Let's talk about it. That'd be one thing. But you can't even get through the door now without having a Security Plus, a GSEC, a CCNA, and you know what? Let's throw a CISSP on there because for some reason that is the biggest, baddest cert on the block right now. Let's just throw that on there. Now you can get an interview. That is where the problem lies, not in the certification industry itself.
And all those certs are just for a novice entry level position that they want to pay you the bare minimum for. And it's like,
60 grand a year. Here you go.
Yeah, most entry level positions, it's like we need you to have 5 years experience, things like that. And it's entry level. It's like, where did you get the experience and the work? It's absurd. Our hiring processes right now.
Again, the certification industry is not broke. It is the hiring process that broke the certification industry and the DoD. The moment the DoD came out, 8570 and I forget what the new one is, I was getting out as they were implementing it, but they broke CompTIA. Because I'll be the first one to tell you, if you went through a boot camp in the DoD, the boot camp they gave you was the exact question and answers for the test for the Security Plus and the A Plus.
Yep.
They broke CompTIA. They broke what it meant. And I'll admit that to a T. I have a Lifetime Security Plus from 2008 because they broke it.
Yeah.
I know my shit, but that I got the score I got because they basically gave me the answers to the questions. Like,
right.
This is the problem we have.
Yep.
And now organizations are requiring 8570 certifications. I think it's 8140 might be the other number. I can't remember offhand. But they're requiring these because they're trusting the government and the DoD and everything else. But the DoD and the government broke shit. And so now things are easier. But then CompTIA flipped from lifetime to now you need CEUs. Cool. What company is going to pay for a junior to get their CEUs?
Yep.
Go ahead. I'll wait. Because not a lot do. Not a lot of companies out there are going to pay for somebody to go there and get the continuing education credits required to maintain their certifications because the DoD broke their system.
You know, what's funny is
something to me. Doesn't anymore.
The more secure that you are in your job and the further that you get advanced, the more likely you're going to be able to get training. Like, how does that work?
I love cyber awareness. I love training. I love everything I can get my hands on. You tell me I can demo any product and give me free reign, I will do it hands down. But you tell me I got to get certified in it. I know you're going to pull out the dumbest fucking questions in the world and just try to trick me and be like, oh, yeah, do this. I'm like, nah, no, homie. I played that game at Microsoft. I ain't doing that shit again. It's not going to happen. Microsoft, that was their key factor to their certifications was, we got to throw some trick questions out there, homie. We're going to put the question and for the same answers, but one word different in every answer, figure out which one's right. What? Or we're going to give you a demo and you got to do it the long way, not the easy way. We're not going to allow you to use keyboard shortcuts or anything else. You got to point and click your way through every fucking menu so you can get to where you're at or where you need to be. I've played those games. I don't do that no more. And so now I am finding organizations that want to be partners with companies. You have to take our certs before you can be a partner.
I love it when they write I had a bank that wrote their own cert and I had to go through it. I also had one where I helped write the test for the bank because it was the server. And then I had to pass the test in order to be able to work on their systems. I kind of wanted to fail it just for shits and giggles.
Didn't you write this? Fuck yeah, I did. You know what? But I failed it anyways. Why? Because I could.
Because now I don't have to work on your system.
But I look at that. I look at that also as kind of, all right, so we're at 7:55 my time. I want, again, we're in spooky season. It's Friday the 13th. I want your best and scariest, and by scariest, I mean just give me your fucking best failures of cyber awareness. I do. I want them. So, Al, since you were talking last, we're going to go with you.
No, go with Jayson first, because now I got to think. I gave you my good one when we started out.
You go first. And it could be you doing this shit because, Jayson, we know you've broken into a lot of shit. Give us your scariest cyber awareness story.
I think my scariest one was I was hired to break into a telecom company and another country, and on the on-site engagement went about as you expected. I got to every floor they said that I could get access to, and then they kept trying to make it like, "We'll get onto this floor. This is where all our lawyers are." Okay, I'm here. What would you like me to do next? It's like, okay, well, this is the IT security department floor. Go to that one and see if you can get in. It's like, okay, I'm here, and I had one of the guys plug in one of my devices. It's like, and it didn't stop until I said, okay, the only floor I haven't done is the executive. Should I go there now and visit? Like, no, 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 we're good. That part is done now. And the CEO was a little upset with the results, though I told him it was a win. And it's like, and I tried to tell him, like, yeah, I told you I was going to be able to get in and all this other stuff. And he said, well, I want you to do a phishing exercise now. And I want you to target 1 to 100 employees. It's always the scope of work that gets these people that are trying to do stupid stuff. I want you to target 1 to 100 employees. You have to be successful, and I want the names of the people that click the links. And I was like, hold on here. It's like you don't record the people who failed. It's like you record the people who succeeded. And if I give you, I mean, I don't want you to penalize the people that click on links that they don't understand, that they've not first been aware of these kind of attacks. They shouldn't be penalized by it. And he says, no, 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 we're not going to do much. We just made the education and I'm like, okay, fine. It's like, I'm not comfortable with that. It's like, look, we hired you. You're already in the middle of the contract. It's like, if y'all want to get you, and I'm in another country, and then I'm like, okay, I will do what you said. I will target 1 to 100 people, and I will make sure I'm successful, and I'll record the name. So I targeted the CEO of the company who hired me. It's like he was the one person that I attacked. It's like I found a Twitter post, because it's always going to be Twitter. I don't care what man, baby, billionaire buys it. And it's like, and I saw this Twitter post where he had been to a telecom company conference 3 months prior. So I then went to the website, found one of the speakers that worked in the adjacent area of him, assumed that guy's identity, sent him an email saying that, like we discussed at the conference, I'm interested in you being the board of directors of our new initiative that we're having in your region. It's like, this is our website. Please take a look at it and tell me what you think. Within 12 hours, he clicked the link. He never had a conversation. He may have had a conversation with it. Who remembers a conversation you had at a conference 3 months ago? But if a speaker reaches out to you saying that, hey, I, as we discussed 3 months ago, you're going to assume it's like, well, how did they know I was there? Twitter. And so I went back to the report and I told him, I was like, yes, it's like, so I did the thing. It's like, here was the person, here are the results. It was you. You're the problem. And it's like, no one got the Swifty joke, but okay. And then,
I'm listening. I got you. You're good.
It's
You're
like,
good.
it's me. I'm the problem. It's like, yes, you are. It's like, so, and then I go and I tell that, and it's like, he was not happy with it. And I was like, dude, it's like, what did having your name know? It's like, it lets you know that you can't, any of these people are going to click the link. It's the educational part afterwards that is important, not doing the gotcha. Am I ever going to be hired by this person again? No. Did he learn a lesson? Probably.
I would hope so.
And it was scary. It was horrible. It was the worst. That was the worst security awareness.
I will say this before we go on to Elle, because I know she's probably still thinking and her wheels are turning and trying to figure it out. I will say this. This is the biggest thing for me is the scope of anything. We have seen, and those of us in cybersecurity that have done pen tests and red teaming and everything else, What burns companies is not doing the test. It is limiting the test.
Yes.
To your point, don't go up to the executive floor. Don't do this. Don't do that. If you're on a pen test, it's like, oh, you can't attack this subnet. Well, why not? Well, because it'll break. Well, what do you mean it'll break? Well, it basically does a DOS, and it's like, you think somebody else cares about that? If you know this is an issue, why not fix it?
Yeah.
Like, these are the problems that we see in this industry is people that know there's problems and don't fix those problems and then limit your scope.
I robbed the state treasury once that said that I wasn't allowed to lie to the cleaning crew employees to get access into their suite. I mean, I still got in by telling them the truth in a dishonest way, but literally that was the scope. I couldn't lie. It's like the scope was still that I couldn't lie to them or to break in. It's like because they thought that would limit, and no attacker has that kind of scope. It's like they try to make the scope this, and your attackers have all this, but this is what we want you to do. Just attack us like a real person.
That's my problem with certifications and degrees. Yeah. That again, not to bring it back to that, but to bring it back to that. That is my issue. When your requirements as an organization are certification and degrees, you are now taking your pool of people that you can hire from here to here. And then when you're government and say you need to get a clearance, well, now you're from here to here. So what do you have going for you? We're going to pay this guy that can make 250 grand on the outside and say we're going to pay him 60 grand on the inside and say we're going to hire him. Yeah, not actually going to work. Anyways, Ell, I love seeing your smiling face because you look like the librarian that you're trying to be. I love it.
That's what I'm.
It's spooky season. I just wish I had some blood to make it really spooky. That would be even better. But as a librarian you are, what you got for us?
All right, I'm going to call myself out as the biggest just flop that I've ever done when it comes to security. So imagine this, working for a malware research company. I am like the little junior. My job is to take all the white papers and everything that they've done, study it, learn the malware, learn how it works, and then go show people. So like translate it out. So I'm working on something and they send me some new malware that they just found, hasn't been released. They're just doing everything on it. And they're like, hey, we're releasing this tomorrow. You need to get ready to go on. Okay, cool. I got this. I log out of the box that I'm doing. I'm running malware tests. Like I'm literally running the malware to see what it's doing with the system. Suddenly I get booted. Slack comes up. Everybody's like, log out of your systems, log out of your systems. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I logged out of the server that I'd been working at into our bastion for the company and ran the malware on the bastion. And I'm going, well, wasn't it neutered? Like, why would we give you a neutered sample? Why would you give an active sample of malware that hasn't been detected to somebody who's been around for 6 months and tell them to run it? And our bastion was on a cloud provider. The cloud provider didn't catch it.
So on that note, we all have those oopsie moments, right? We all have those moments of shit, I shouldn't have done this. To your point, they should not have given you a non-neutered malware to run on a server. That was their fuck up, not yours. But I think anybody who has ever been an analyst, an engineer, anybody that has anything to do with system administration, network administration, or anything like that, has made those oopsies moments. And on the note of spooky stories, right? Because that's the whole premise. I'm going to give mine, and we'll probably hear it in the next few weeks also. I was working for an organization after I retired out of the Army, and I was a SIM engineer. Now, mind you, working for an MSSP that also has co-managed and managed systems, you SSH into a lot of fucking boxes. I did a shutdown -R on our main. Unannounced, not nothing, just this needs rebooted. Because one of the boxes I was in needed rebooted. Not our main. One of the collectors somewhere down the line. But I wasn't paying attention to the host name. And I just said, shut down -R now. And then I looked at what box I was on, and I was like, oh, fuck. Let me send out a message. Yo, system will be on for about a half hour. It'll take a bit. Because at the time, we were using ESM. And McAfee ESM, between shutting everything down and then bringing everything back up, it was about a half-hour delay before you could collect logs again and see them and know that your system was working. And so, yes, for anybody who ever thinks they can't fuck up, guess what? We've all done it. We've all made that mistake of doing fucked up shit. You want to know Jayson's story? Go listen to Darknet Diaries. I will completely send you that way. Go listen to Darknet Diaries if you want to hear his fuck up story. Wasn't his fault.
Episode 6.
I will. Was it what episode?
Episode 6.
There you go. I will not claim it was his fault, but it was his fault. You're muted still, Jay.
I tell people that was a failure on my part. It's like 100%. I was out of scope. I wasn't paying attention. That was not the story sounds cool because I didn't end up in Lebanese prison. It's like it was still my mistake and it was still a screw up. It's like, and I've given a whole talk one year on nothing but my failures. It's like at every conference that I went to, it was nothing but talking about all the different failures that I've done through the years.
But we all have failures, and that's what I want people to understand in this industry, in what we're doing. Whether you're brand new or been in it for years, we have all failed at something. We have all made mistakes. And again, one of the reasons I do what I do, one of the reasons I have this show is to bring new people in, because they need to understand that you're going to slip, you're going to fall, you're going to make mistakes, shit's going to happen. And you're going to feel like you don't belong. But you do. No matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter what you believe, you belong here. And to the best and brightest that have been in this industry, show me someone that has not made a mistake in their career, and I'll show you a hypocrite. I will show you a liar and show you someone that doesn't belong because they are on their pedestal of, I'm perfect. None of us are. We've all fucked up. Now, saying that, as we come to the end of the episode, and I have to do this. I have to, because it's, like I said, premise of the show. Let's start with Elle. Since she passed it off to Jayson last time, we're going to go to Elle this time. You have to do it. Any advice to any new people entering the industry? What do you got?
You're always going to be new. That's my whole thing. It's okay to be new. Like, if you're not new at something, then get the hell out of the way because somebody else is coming for your job. It's as simple as that.
Love it. Jayson, what about you?
There's enough in this industry. There are enough gatekeepers. Stop being one to yourself. It's like, stop self-gatekeeping. Stop saying that I shouldn't go for this because I don't know that. I'm not here because of my technical skills. I'm here because of my just persistence and just of like, I'm going to fail, but I'm going to keep going. It's not because it's like I knew all these things and I just learned all these things. No, it's because I screwed up and I kept going and I didn't let it deter me from accomplishing my goal. And I'm too petty to let the haters and stuff, be proven right at the end of the day. It's like my haters are motivators. It's like you've given me something to prove wrong. Don't stop now. It's like I got more to prove to you. It's like, so that's what you need to learn from it. It's like when you're starting out, it's like you've got, and one of the biggest problems, and it's for a lot of people that are not, in a certain demographic. It's like that will go and they'll be so self-gatekeeping of like, well, they say they're looking for this and they're like, but I've never really worked on that. So maybe I shouldn't apply for that. And I tell every single person, I say, look, when you're applying for a job, you need to channel your inner mediocre white dude. Okay. Because as a mediocre white dude, I have never been on a job interview where they said, did you know something? And I said, you're right. I don't really know that. I don't know if I'd be like, well, no, hey, I don't know it that much, but I can learn it, and I'm a fast learner, and you can teach me the way you want to teach me. And so yeah, I learn that. I know that, or I'll know it by the end of the day. So yeah, I know it. I'm good at it. That's what you need to bring into it. Stop trying to self gatekeep and say, well, if I don't know something 100%, then I shouldn't try to apply for that job. Apply for that job. We've already established that you can go all the way to the very top of this country and stuff, without having a clue about what you're doing. It's like, so don't let that stuff stop you.
Too many people have gone to the top of this country without having a fucking clue with what they're doing.
Ain't that the
But
truth?
you're not wrong. That is the biggest like failure of this industry is individuals allowing themselves to self gatekeep. We talk about gatekeepers all the time. It is the individuals that are like, I can't do it. I don't have all these certs, or I don't have all these requirements, or I don't know all this shit. Look, you know how many jobs I've applied to that I didn't know a goddamn thing, but was like, you know what? That description sounds cool. Let me apply to that.
Yeah.
And when they call me and they say, hey, do you have this? Nope. Do you have this? Nope. Do you want me to get it? Then you're going to pay for it. You're going to figure it out. You're going to find a way to pay for it for me to get it. Be confident in yourself. And again, in everything in life, people talk about everything they want to talk about. There is a difference between arrogance, cockiness, and just knowing who you are. If you have the ability to learn and grow and do what you do on the fucking fly and not give a damn what anybody says about you, then do it. If you have the strength of character, the courageousness, everything in you to speak your mind and know what you know, don't let anybody stop you. Too many people gatekeep themselves. And they say, oh, well, I was too forceful, so they didn't listen, so it was my fault or it was their fault, and I'm going to blame somebody, like whether it's myself or somebody else. No. Know yourself, know others, know your audience, know what you're doing. But at the end of the day, your knowledge is your knowledge, and nobody can take that from you, ever. Nobody can take your knowledge from you, just as nobody can take your ability to learn. Keep learning, keep growing. I don't care who you are, what you look like, or what you believe in this world. You belong here. You belong in this industry because we need every fighting hand and mind we can get. For anybody that tells you different, have them come talk to me. Because I will put them in their place. I don't give a damn. Come talk to me. Come talk to Jayson, Ell. I can give you 100 and some names that have been on my show that will put them in their place. Can't nobody tell you any different. You belong here. Hands down every time. All you got to do is have the drive and the passion, and you'll make it. Now, otherwise, it's spooky season. Elle is in her librarian gear. Jayson has decided to dress up as a professional for once that can get in anywhere. And me, well, I got 2 more weeks. I'm going to figure out a costume by the end of the month. Don't worry, it'll happen. Saying that, I love you all donations, all subscriptions, all memberships, all buy me a coffee, you name it, you donate it, it goes to youth football. It is not going to me. So believe that. Otherwise, I love you all. Take care. Have an amazing weekend. Have an amazing rest of the Friday the 13th. And I will see you all next week because we got Colleen coming on and we talking mental health. So I'll see you then. Take care. I love you all. Be safe.